Hello, everyone. Happy Friday or Saturday, as it were, if it's Saturday where you live. I think it's only Friday and Saturday. It's definitely not Thursday anywhere anymore. The wonders of time travel and everything. You'll notice the cool shades. I think I've had these in class a couple of times. They're blue light blockers and stuff because of the eye problems that I had in January, where it was fun to wake up one day and just not be able to see out of one eye due to iritis. So welcome everyone. I'll give everyone a chance to get into the live stream. Hi, Ingrid. I haven't seen you today. It's good to see you. Hey, Michelle. Some other people are in. Whew, it has been a day. It has been a day. Sorry, I needed water. Like I said, I started this morning, coming in at 10 o'clock this morning, my time. It's now 8 o'clock my time. I came in at 10 o'clock because I had to prep for a really fun thing that I did in Discord this afternoon. We got to work with Realm Chef. How many people came to the Realm Chef webinar today? They have a really great app that is what I believe is going to be one of the best RAG tools for authors. Now, I know you guys have heard me say RAG is not for fiction, and I agree. Like, it's really not the best for fiction. It's definitely a difficult nut to crack, but the team at Realm Chef does have the EAW stamp of approval in what they are working on, because when they do perform a RAG query, which is retrieval augmented generation, they are actually disclosing or revealing to the author. So this is Creatives Need Control. That's my banner. They are revealing to the author what was pulled, so that way it's not a mystery if the AI got it wrong. So you can actually look at that. As Jen says in the chat, Realm Chef is good RAG. Yes, indeed. Hello, Adam. Good to see you. Hey, Jen. Ingrid does sometimes miss class, but very rarely. I agree. All right, we have 10 people in the house. So let's see what we can do today. So I highly recommend Realm Chef, because on Monday they are actually going to be opening up. So if you're watching this live or you watch this over the weekend, join their Discord, get on their wait list and everything like that. They're going to be opening up a way for people to get early access into that beta access. And they were able to generate for me a story Bible in less than 3 minutes. Now, I like to be authentic, of course, and say that, remember, we are working with artificial intelligence. And how many of you know that the AI really can only get you to, like, at best, the AI gets you to 90 to 95% of the way there. Like, it's just not 100%. It's just not 100% human. So it can get you almost there. So I used it on a book that I wrote 10 years ago. So I really didn't remember anything about the book. And it wrote a really great story Bible for me. That was a great jumping off point. And like I said, it was lickety split. It also wrote the book blurb. It wrote a log line. It gave me a whole timeline of events that happened in the story. I did 8 chapters, but it can handle actually much more than that. This was just a test because I had to speed run today. I ran the story Bible yesterday, and then I used Rexy last night with a bunch of the members of the Future Fiction Academy. We have a really great community, and I really, really appreciate them. We did some body doubling work inside of Quirky, our Zoom room, and I was able to get most of the components I needed. And then this morning, in about an hour, I was able to make all the sequencing I needed so that I could literally write with my fine tune for my Jaff stuff a 32,000 word novella in 10 minutes. So that was the sequencing I did. So I can give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of that. That's those files real fast, just so you guys can see it. Let me get ready to share my screen here for you guys. You don't need to see my accounting or my Facebook. It'll be a distraction. I don't know if I want to get that link, so we'll talk about that later. Okay, getting Notion set up and everything like that. And let's go ahead and share my screen on StreamYard. And I'll check the chat as well, so that see what everyone's asking about today. Hey, Beverly, good to see you. Thank you, Stacy, that it was awesome this afternoon. Happy to hear. Okay, let's go ahead and share my screen, and so that you guys can see what I did. And I'm also going to talk about the new features of Rexy Chat. and a little bit of, well, I think it was intended for drama in the AI world, but yeah, so not the drama for me, but we'll talk about it. So let me share my screen. And it'll be the window, and you'll see my auto write. Now I'm going to go into this mode so that you guys, cinema mode, so that you guys can see really fast, really quickly what we're doing here. And I'll also open up another Notion page because I will go ahead and get started on the notes for this for you guys. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a link to this. Because it won't really do any good if you're not a member of the FFA anyway. What do I want to give you a link to? I guess I can give a link to this. Because honestly, I'm probably going to do something completely different because honestly, I hated the 10 chapter book, the 8 chapter book, the book I wrote 10 years ago. Boy, going back in time and looking at your old stuff is really hard to do. So let me go ahead and get to where we do I am just losing my train of thought here. But I know, we don't have one for February yet. Not to worry. I will go ahead and just make one at the bottom here and we'll rearrange it later. So we'll make a page and we will call this, this is a Rexy Rave because that's what it is. It's a party. We'll do the Rexy Rave party. So if it's a party, no, that's not going to work. Although that's kind of cool as an invitation. Let's get a disco ball. There is no disco ball. I am very, very party. Let's see what they've got for a good party. That's kind of a cool party, but I think, yeah, what is this thing? A pinata looking thing. I like it. We'll go with that. And this was the Rexy Rave, and this is 2/20 or 2/2/24. And let me go ahead and share my screen or publish this to the web and get you guys this link. I'll get it into the chat real fast on YouTube, and I'll make sure that I'm sure Stacy will make sure that this already gets added to the description. And if I mess this up, Stacy, let me know. Oh, you want a cake, Beverly? Oh, I like it. Cool. Okay, so let's get back to the business at hand. So Rexy Rave, and then I have to link to this. So I'll share here. So you guys can get my blackjacks and everything like that. You can see what I did. Okay. So with one of the first things I had to do in my auto write, you're going to see like my SQL end slots and my Trouble with Horses elements. So my Trouble with Horses elements, actually, this is a good way for me to show Rexy Chat. So right here, I have, these are the chapter summaries that came out of Realm Chef right here. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 7, Chapter 8. You get a paragraph and you get like a full synopsis of what happened in those chapters. I also got with one click a whole timeline of the Trouble with Horses as well. So this is an entire timeline that was generated in Realm Chef. And Realm Chef is, so that you guys can see it. He'll probably kill me that I'm showing it, but that's okay. I think it's a space. You have to have a space in there. There it is, Realm Chef, app.realmchef.com. Heroic story, join. There's a wait list that you can join. I do have an account, so you can see kind of like what they look like. And yes, it's pretty cards. And let me show you how cool this is. So on Realm Chef, if you have your document here and it's activated for chat, I can literally chat with this particular document or extract the cards. I can turn let's say I don't want to talk with the document. Let's say I just want to talk with my character profiles. So this card has all of the information about my characters. If I click edit, I can see the entire extraction that came. So, and then I can literally make changes to this and type in here like, hello, mom, but we'll take that out because that'll confuse it. So what I can also do here, let me go ahead, and what I also kind of thought was cool is these motifs that they have. So these were motifs that were pulled out. So things that were constant symbols or symbolism I fell on, bringing it into that book. So I was really impressed with that. There's the timeline. Now this was really cool. The Mary Bennett's encounter at the end. So let me show you what Realm Chef can do. I'm not going to do it for you, but I'll show you like what I did. This was a chat with the actual document. How would Mary Bennett recount what happened in the inn on the way to London? Now, at the inn in The Trouble with Horses, Mary Bennett and Elizabeth Bennett get into a fight with a drunkard, and Colonel Fitzwilliam kind of like steps in as they are standing up to this guy. And Colonel Fitzwilliam and Georgiana talk to them at the end because they're heading to London, and Colonel Fitzwilliam and Georgiana are heading to Meryton. So the RAG, basically the retrieval augmented generation, what it did is it went through the actual document and it reveals for you the 20 slices that it thought were most important for what my query was, which was about the inn and everything like that. So it pulls it and then it reveals it to you. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit confused about this part of this. And this is about, RAG being a little bit unclear. To me, these are non sequitur. I wouldn't have picked these pieces for that answer, but it still got the answer right. So their team is really cool because I'll be working with them and other authors will be working with them about developing better retrieval augmented generation and more RAG and more extractions and stuff. So the Future Fiction Academy is going to be on the forefront of this with Realm Chef, and the authors who join Realm Chef right now, they get to really help be important, shaping one of the most important tools coming to our industry that's not available yet. And to my knowledge, I haven't seen anybody have a really good RAG system yet. I'm sure other AI software companies are working on it. This is not a competition or anything like that in that sense. I'm not saying, Realm Chef's better than anyone else. I'm noticing that they're really filling a hole right now. And this is really cool to be on the forefront of development of this. So the Realm Chef chat, and I love the little kitty, came up with that Mary would be excited about the Colonel's chivalry and that he noticed her. She might express gratitude for his intervention and concern for her well-being, reflecting on the unexpected shift in her otherwise uneventful life. Did it get Mary Bennett or what? And then I clicked the card to save that message as a card, and it automatically did a tag for me for the character. I'm still learning that system of it. Then I said, using the card, Mary Bennett's encounter at the end. And in order for that card to be put in for the chat, all you do is you click the card and the little white line appears. And that card is now part of this. And that's what the tags are. So if I didn't want to see all this mess, if I only wanted to see, say, Mary Bennett's cards, I can click Mary Bennett and then I only see the cards that are hers. I can also change the color of that tag so that if I was looking at everything, I can also change it. So if I go back to, let's say I want to go all cards again. If I'm scrolling through, I can find the purple card right away too. So they also listened to me that I said, authors love color coding. We need to color code. That's important, right? Let me know in the chat if you like to color code. I like to color code. Anyway, Realm Chef, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I asked it to look at that card and I said to write a fictional letter from Mary to her sister Kitty talking about the inn after she arrives in London. And this is using GPT Turbo 4. So it's using a really good model. And it literally just wrote a letter that I could have used. I could use this for marketing. I could use this as bonus content. I could use this as a teaser to my readers. I could use this in a lot of different ways. I could even just use this to help me with writing if you want to develop stuff of what does a minor character feel about a scene. These are really cool applications coming from AI and from RAG. And this is getting me excited a little bit to start. Maybe I will say RAG is not bad for fiction, but it still has a little ways to go in the sense that we're still developing cool stuff there. So let me check the chat here because I know I've left you guys alone for a little bit. Oh, love color coding. Yes, amen. Color coding for the win. Don't your chats count against your spice? I wouldn't get bogged down about the pricing of, I didn't mean to remove myself. That wasn't what I was trying to do. I wouldn't get too bogged down about the pricing of Realm Chef right now. This is early beta. Hopefully Jay's not mad that I showed this a little bit on the live. But anyway, you guys need to go support Realm Chef. You guys supported the FFA when we started last year, and we were getting started and being avant-garde about this work in AI writing. And I think Realm Chef is listening and getting it. They realize that they agree with the kind of the philosophy that creatives need control. They need to be in the driver's seat. They're listening, and the pricing structure isn't set in stone. They are still, that is still a work in progress. So this is an opportunity to really get in on the ground floor and really influence a tool that I think is going to be very important moving forward as we're all trying to write with AI. AI assistants. Okay, so that was Realm Chef. Okay, let me go back to cinema mode so you can see this. And it's really pretty. I'm going to be jealous for just a second. Like, I love my Rexy. It's a dinosaur. It's not got pretty. Dinosaurs are kind of like slimy and scaly and stuff. But I gotta say, Realm Chef is really pretty. The jewel tones make me very happy. So maybe one day we'll hire somebody UI who can give Rexy a facelift or something. But for right now, we are stuck with the gray dinosaur. And he's great. He's very powerful. We love the gray dinosaur. So I'll get into Rexy right now because I want to show off the chat features. So let me go ahead and load the project that I need. So the project is going to be the sequel to The Trouble with Horses. And let me go ahead and load that project. And I'll show you some of the work I did last night with the chat mode by being able to do a lot of functionality. So these are always your changes that have happened to your Rexy. Now, I do need to kind of talk about a little elephant in the room. So forgive me. Let me go back to my face for just a second. Okay. I'm not going to get into all of it, okay? But I had a pretty frank conversation today with Jason Hamilton, the nerdy novelist. And both of us are very concerned about how divisive the AI community is becoming in terms of, competition and rankings, and this is better than that. But the big concern that I had is that people know my biggest pet peeve is when I feel people have taken things from sources, whether it's myself, the FFA, OpenAI's videos, or other coursework or other things, and they don't attribute where it came from. In particular today, Novel Crafter released a fine-tune tool that, I kid you not, is pretty much a carbon copy of Rexy's fine-tune tool, and they made it free. And I want to believe that this was not, maliciously done or anything. Like, it wasn't like they're trying to like, ha ha ha, they have this behind a paywall, so we'll just we'll make it available to everyone. Especially as like we've been called bullies and things like that. And I have a contentious opinion about Novel Crafter. Fine tunes are a really hot issue right now. And I've been trying to share as much information as I can about fine tunes. And what I don't share is not because I'm trying to be like, buy the course if you want to learn it. It's not that simple. And I'm not even like that. The reason why I can't just go, here is a step-by-step guide to make a fine tune. For those of you who have been in the fine tune course in the FFA, would you all agree in the chat that a process to make a fine tune for yourself as an author is a very personalized process? It's not complicated. You can learn the steps to do it, but you need to know how to prompt. And once you know how to prompt, you need to know how you like to prompt. And then once you know how you like to prompt, then you have to create a data set for how you like to prompt and good samples that match that prompting. And then you have to put it into something like Novel Crafter's tool, or if you have access to Rexy, putting it into Rexy, because it'll make you the JSON L file. It cannot be a JSON file. It has to be a JSON L file. And at the moment, the easiest place to fine tune is OpenAI with 3.516K. So if you go to OpenAI, it's not complicated, but it's unfamiliar to a lot of authors. Most authors are used to ChatGPT. You have to go to the API side. The new way of doing this, if you don't already have an account with them, you're going to have to go to billing and you're going to have to put like $5 in. Now, once you go to fine tuning over here on the left-hand side, you can click the create button and you can go ahead and choose your base model. They'll list a model like GPT-4, but you'll notice if I actually click on that, it's only a request access. Nobody actually has access to, very few people have access to GPT-4 right now. And I've even had an opportunity to talk to the lead engineer on fine tunings, John Lazard. So it's not easy to get this access to GPT-4, but I think it is coming for everyone. So you can fine tune GPT Turbo 3.5.1106, which is what most of us fine tune. And then you literally just upload your JSON L file. So if I was going to do that, I would do my JAF and I would put one in there and upload it in there. And then what happens is once you put the file in there, the fine tune will run and it'll it'll process in a way that, it's going to give you a training loss data. Our experiences are that the training loss is kind of a moot point for fiction. The smaller the training data loss gets, if it's really small, it gets very deterministic in what it's going to respond to you. So we have success with models that are 1.4, 1.1, 0.8, all the way up to 1.8. The epochs is how many times it's running the data set over and over and over again. So it ran my data set 10 times. Since it trained 350,000 tokens, that means my data set had 35,000 tokens, because it's 10 times 35,000 equals this 350,000 number. As for cost, it's really not that expensive. If you are looking at it, I always have to go look at the OpenAI pricing, because honestly, they keep changing it, which is good. They keep making it cheaper. You want to come all the way down to the fine-tune models on the pricing. So it's just openai.com pricing. And down here, GPT-5 Turbo, your training is 0.008 per 1,000 tokens. So remember, my example was 350,000 tokens. So that would be 350. I want to make sure I'm sharing my screen. I am not this whole time. I did it again. Dag nabbit. Ugh. I am so sorry. I'm not even in the right thing. Wow. We'll walk backwards. It's been a long day. It has been a long day. So let me go back to all of the things that I was just showing you guys that you could not see. This is a great live. This is why I like to do it live, because then you know I'm not a robot, because it's not perfect. I want to put that there. Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. I know I'm going to go take my hard knocks. I'm going to go look at the chat so I can see everyone screaming at me. I'm not sharing. Oh, you can see the screen in my thing. So, yeah, fine tuning is not a one size fits all. So, back to what I was trying to do. So apologies for that. So OpenAI, when you click login to do a fine tune, you have to go to the API side. Most authors are used to ChatGPT. You have to go to the API side. That's the only place you can fine tune right now. With OpenAI, there are other places out there to upload fine tunes for open source models and things like that. It's a little bit more complicated. I hate that word. I hate that word. It's a little bit more unfamiliar and new. So we've been focusing on 3.5, but there will soon be training, I'm sure, in Future Fiction Academy on how to fine tune some of these open source models. I'm kind of holding out for a really good platform for fine tuning Mistral, because I think Mistral is the most stable of the open source models. But we do have rumor that Llama 4 is coming, or Llama 3. Llama 3? I can't remember which Llama we're on. They need to stop releasing AI models, honestly. But the next Llama model, a lot of people are excited for the opportunity to fine tune that too. So open source is a little bit behind stability wise, in my opinion, behind OpenAI. So we've started here because this is where I think a lot of people are going to find results and not be unhappy with it. So once you're in here, if you don't have an account here yet, you'll have to go into billing, and you'll have to put in like $5, I think is the minimum. So when you click on fine tuning, okay, this fine tune model here, you click create. This is where you upload your JSON L file, and you choose your base model that you want to fine tune. So most of us are fine tuning GPT 3.5 Turbo 1106. You also can fine tune a fine tune. I know this is a rabbit hole, y'all. And GPT-4, it'll show it, but it's not available yet. And that's what I was saying. You can only request access right now. It's not easy to get access to GPT-4. So 1106 right here, with dragging the JSON file in, you add it in here. Make sure you name your JSON file, your JSON L file. Make sure you name it a human-friendly title. Do not use the default name of any LLM tuner that you're using, whether it's Rexy's or Novel Crafter's free one or any other one that comes on the market, because the only time you have a chance to put a human-friendly name in this thing is with your file name, and I'll show you what I mean. OpenAI is always going to assign you this 8-digit unique identifier. Well, it's 8 characters, so it'll be a mixture of numbers and letters, lowercase and uppercase. And they are actually using like lowercase O's and uppercase O's and zeros and I's. So it really sucks trying to memorize these things. But when you use these inside a playground, for example, that's all you got. Like you have to remember. So I've gotten like Eilish or that's my deep Texas one for the DTX. So I give it like little names from the gibberish that they put on the end. Let me go back to fine tuning. But if I couldn't remember what JSON-L file I used to fine tune that, I'm not going to get it from this. So what I have to do is if I click on it though, it'll tell me what file I uploaded right here. And this tells me this is the 1 through 20 samples of JAF, and it was my second data set. This is my naming convention. If you name your file data.jsonl, you will never be able to remember what the heck fine-tune was what unless you make notes. So I'm warning you on these breadcrumbs right now, people, so that people are actually able to use this. And this is actually a pretty decent one, and you'll see that my training loss is 2.09, but it actually works really well. Now, the example I was showing you all earlier that you couldn't see is this one. This is a more recent one. 350,000 tokens is how many tokens it trained. 10 epochs means how many times did it run the data set. So if you divide your trained tokens by how many epochs it does, that's how many tokens is in the data set. So this data set was a data set of 35,000 tokens. It ran it 10 times to run 350,000 tokens. And it gives you metrics about how it runs it and everything like that. And it's pretty much as clear as mud as what any of these numbers mean. It has to do with how close the data set is to the natural response of the LLM. The further away from zero you are, the more your assistant prompt, the example prompt that you're showing, is different from what the model would have naturally just generated. And that's why people typically in like commercial applications or nonfiction applications, they're like, I want this number really low. I want this number like 0.25 to 0.75. For fiction writing, we find most of us are happy with a training loss of above 1 because it means it's not a very deterministic fine tune, because you can over fine tune a fine tune. You can just break it to where it's just gibberish by fine tuning it too much. So if your training loss is over 1, don't panic. If it's over 2, don't panic. We actually teach ways to test it in the playground, and you just test it in playground and you are the final arbiter of is your fine tune good or not. This is why I was saying earlier, I don't have a step-by-step on how to build a fine tune that's available for everybody right now. And it's in the FFA because we have to teach that live in a small group and answer questions, because it's a very personal experience when you build your own fine tune to write like you. How you prompt the LLM and how I prompt the LLM may be very different. And also what we're trying to get out of those fine tunes may be very different. Okay, let me check the chat, make sure everyone's caught up now. If that explanation makes sense. Yes. As a large language model, I don't know what I'm doing. I like that, Death by Diva. I feel the same. We can see the screen in her face. I love that part. Yeah, if people don't know what they're doing, it is a good luck bear thing. It'll just be a mess. So in this case, the pricing is what a lot of people have questions about. What does it cost to fine tune in 3.5 GPT? And that's what I was trying to say. They keep lowering the pricing. So I always go to the pricing, openai.com pricing. That's where you find it. Scroll all the way down. So it'll start up here, scroll all the way down to, okay, it's not that far down, not that far down, but where it says fine tuning models. And here is where you can find that GPT 3.5 Turbo is 0.008. Now, many of you, we've had videos on this since December on this channel about fine tunes. We shared one kind of live when we did Outline Mageddon back in December. So what I would do here is, since I fine tuned 350,000 tokens, you guys can do that math, hopefully easy in your head. 350,000 divided by 1,000 is 350. So we'll go 350 into the calculator that you cannot see times 0.008. And you'll find out that that fine tune cost me $2.80. Now, why am I sharing that? Because that's the exact fine tune model this morning that literally wrote me 32,000 words in 10 minutes. And that's what I'm getting towards. So, and for those who don't believe, if you're stunned that that could happen, I'll show you really fast that in my sequels or in my auto write, sequels to trouble. My blackjack, my scene writing, I had my scene briefs already built. They're in my end slots, my bangs here. N8 is the prompt that matches my fine tune, B, Val, and Jolie, da 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 da. So you'll see an example of my prompting on this, by the way. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge for anyone trying to learn a fine tune. You'll see what kind of prompting is in my fine tune, and then the scene brief that is a template. So that's how I trained it. And then I had human writing that matched that template, and that's how I trained my fine tune. So my human writing to specify. That's the other danger about this stuff. You cannot, I mean, I know I'm going to remind myself, I'm going to watch myself. So I'll remember I'm not sharing. Fine tunes are dangerous to our industry. And I'll explain why. And it's one of the reasons why we did not make the fine tune tool like just available to anyone. A fine tune tool does not prevent anyone from taking any book and slicing and dicing it and creating a fine tune to write just like that book. It won't memorize the characters and everything like that, though it will make those character names and phrases and stuff a higher attention token. So it's more likely to be in the outputs. But fine tune tools and fine tune tooling needs to come with responsibility in our industry, 1000%. And this is not the same as training a model. When you were training a model and the data sets and stuff that were used for that, it was small snippets of writing, trillions of pieces of data. Okay. A fine tune's not like that. And this is all currently in litigation. So, but one of the arguments that's often made about those training models for the big models, so the big training that made the models, the foundational models, is that, and I'm not a lawyer, by the way, but if you read the briefs and everything, these are some of the arguments that they're making. And none of this has been decided yet, by the way. That it should fall under the case of fair use because it was such a small piece. It was like sentence fragments and things with no context. It wasn't the whole piece of work. And it also wasn't to create a competing product. You lose those arguments if you steal someone else's book and cut it up and try to make a fine tune with it, because you will be taking large sections of the book for the sole purpose of making a competing product. So I'm going to really stress and say that the Future Fiction Academy and my perspective on this, and this is not a case of like who's doing it right or competition, or like, this is stuff we all need to be a united front on. You need to use your own data, or you need to use what's called synthetic data, or it's also called dog fooding, where you take AI generated content and you clean it up so that you like it, and then you feed that back into an LLM as a fine tune. A good example of this would be taking like GPT-4 responses and editing them so that you like it, and then using that as a fine tune for 3.5 so that you're teaching GPT 3.5 to write more like GPT-4. Okay. What you should not do, you should never do, is take someone else's book without their permission and slice and dice it into a fine tune so that you can write like that author. It's unethical. And I think that I don't have a crystal ball and I'm not a lawyer, but that's going to be a very big problem. That this is going to be a big problem in our industry, these fine tunes and where the data sets come from. So also be wary if people have data sets that they're trading, and that I can see it now. I've been in this industry for 15 years. There's going to be communities that are swapping these data set files willy-nilly. And I would not want anyone that is my friend or is learning from me to be caught in something that they never intended. So please be very, very careful about your fine-tuned data sets. Make sure the provenance is coming from someone you trust. Make sure they can explain to you exactly where that data came from, whether it was from AI, they made it themselves, or they're giving you the license to use it, or use your own books, because to do anything else is it's just too dangerous. So, and I'll check the chat on that because I know I'm being very, very soapboxy at the moment. But these are important things that aren't being talked about this brand new technology and capabilities we've had. We've talked about it in the FFA, but I haven't really had a chance to talk about it publicly too much. So be careful with your data sets. Okay. So back to the showing you guys my sequencing, and I just did it again. I know I'm not sharing. Hold on. I see what I did. I got it. Share. Nope. Bring it back. Go away. Add to stage. There we go. I'm back. See? Ta-da! I didn't forget this time. Go me. Okay, so let's take a look at the sequence. You guys are familiar with N8s. N8s is just the prompt. N11, N12, N13, N14. So N14 is going to be Scene 4's writing brief. And let me go ahead and take you to the Notion page that goes to. So the SQL N slots. Scene briefs, N11, 12, 13, 14. And if you look at N14, it is the Scene 4 writing brief. So these are writing briefs, and this is a template that I use that I like for my writing style. Not saying everybody else has to. But anyway, I built all this stuff on the precipice of the information that I got from Realm Chef. And then I did my own brainstorming and working with it. And I'm going to do a little bit of that in just a minute here. And then you guys have here the, I'm lost in my notions, lost in my notion. You have the bangs that I did, very simple. To show you the prompt, sorry about that. N8 is the prompt for scene writing. So you'll see you are Val and Jolie, the writing assistant to author Elizabeth Ann West. This was the original system prompt of my fine tune. And this was the original user prompt. Because WordBanger does not have a system prompt at the moment, we're working on that. I just put it all as the user prompt. Like I just put it all as the top box in my thing, and it works just fine for me. Your mileage may vary. So coming down to this auto write, let me show you. So here is the fine tune versions 1 through 10. So remember my fine tunes for my Jeff. These things had a 2.0 training loss or a 1.4 training loss. If I open up one of these scenes, literally look at this. A fine tune can do unattributed dialogue. It can pass for human writing. I'm not kidding you. When I read these things, I am just like, there's not a whole lot I want to change. I also have to confront that sometimes my writing is a little bit basic. I know. The other thing too that I do see is that you do have the ability to introduce your own dappled sunlight with a fine tune. So let me show you what I mean by that. So GPT-4, the crisp air. There was one where she bit her lip, and I have a bad habit of that. She bit her lip. She bit her lip. She bit her lip. I can't show it to you. I can't remember where it was, but anyway, it was there. So this was the last one I ran because I ran it 3 times this afternoon. 17:55. So 55 minutes, 5 minutes before the hour. It was done 5 minutes after the hour. It was 10 minutes, you guys. 10 minutes. Not even a full 10 minutes, because this is 55 minutes and 51 seconds when it was done. And this one was done 5 minutes, 14 seconds. So it's literally 10 minutes to run 16 scenes. 16 scenes in 10 minutes. And altogether, I have a fully keeps narrative logic novella draft. I'm going to click the 3 dots. 31,298 words. So this is why I say this is really important work and this is important stuff. Would it write as well without a fine tune? No, because I did that. I tested that because I figured people would have those questions. So let me show you the one that I did that was not a fine tune. So this one was a fine tune, and then this one was not. This was just GPT-4 Turbo, and I was using a methodology that we developed last year. Gosh, summer last year. The story so far method, where it can read what it already wrote inside the Big Bang box. So it was able to read the previous scene in the context window. This one was This one wrote, let's see the final completion here. 10,632 words. And it literally reads like, it's like a summary. Is it true? A skeptical, I never would have guessed, and the more pointed. So Elizabeth could not help but overhear fragments of conversation. And excited, is it true? A skeptical, I never would have guessed, and the more pointed. Mrs. Bennet and him. With each word, each intonation laden with curiosity and doubt, Elizabeth felt a flutter in her heart, the collision of joy and unease. I like my fine tune better. I can edit my fine tune. It feels more like me. It feels like I actually have my own personalized writing assistant. So that was that. Let's take a look at Rexy Chat, and I'll check the chat real fast with you guys, and then we'll look at Rexy Chat. So yeah, if people want to copy Rexy Chat, they're going to have to watch the whole live to get to the end. Cersei says, when you fine tune, does your JSON L have to under the 16 tokens for say GPT 3.5? That's a great question, Cersei. No, your total file does not have to be under that. Each individual sample has to be under that. So let me show you in Rexy. Inside of Rexy, when you are in your LLM tuner or the Novel Crafter's very similar cousin, you put your information, your system prompt, your user prompt, your assistant prompt input here. And this is your system, your user, and the assistant is what you wish the LLM would write. Each individual sample has to be smaller than the context window of the model. So some of mine are longer, some of mine are shorter. Most of us have the best success at getting 3.5 16K, which can now write 3,000 to 4,000 words in a single response. Your assistant input, the stuff, the human writing that you're putting in as the example to match the prompting, or the heavily human edited AI writing that you're putting in, like if you're dog fooding or using synthetic data validated by a human, you want that input to match what you want out of the LLM, 1000%. And I'm going to say again, okay, this stuff is not, it's not complicated, but it's unfamiliar. This is new. Most of us have never had to analyze our writing outside of like using AutoCrit or Pro Writing Aid. We use an editor. We have a lot more in the FFA where we're going to be expanding into this entirely new field of analyzing writing for the purpose of a data set for a fine tune. Ryan Rivers, who you all know and love, will be coming in March, I believe, sometime around that time. But we're going to be talking about some software that he has in his, he's familiar with from his work, his other job, not as an author, as a professor of technical communication. That's going to be a concordance tool where we're actually looking at word frequency and we're looking at relationships between words. These kinds of tooling is the precursor tooling that led to what we now have with LLMs and everything like that, where we have computers now who understand language, different pieces of language and everything like that. So it's a really exciting time to, I mean, just tell me in the chat, how many of you love linguistics and words? How many of you are word nerds and cannot wait to start really deep diving and finding out about these idiosyncrasies that are unique to your writing, both with a tool like a concordance tool like AntConc, where you're analyzing your writing from a statistical standpoint to analyzing your writing with the artificial intelligence and looking at what it says about your writing. So, and we have a tips and tricks video too on our channel, where it's me, Stephanie Pajonas, and Ryan Rivers talking about our fine tunes and tips and tricks for building your data sets. So yes, there's definitely importance there. I'm looking at the chat here for you guys. Okay, so I'll need to go through your fine tune excerpts and focus on longer stuff. Yes, if you want longer stuff as the output. Again, this is where this process is personal. Okay, it's personal to you. If you want the LLM to write you 2,000 words, your data set should have 2,000 to 2,500 words in the data set as examples. If you are somebody who wants a fine tune that's just editing paragraphs, you need to define what you mean by that editor and how you want it to behave, like what are the rules of engagement of the task. We do use a methodology in our prompting. When we do a fine tune, what we recommend, you'll notice mine because I've made it, I put it out there now. I do be Val and Jolie. Now, you cannot introduce new tokens to a fine tune. All tokens are already known by the AI because every letter combination is already a token. So you're not introducing new tokens to it. So let's take a look at this prompt scene for writing. This is the system prompt that I originally used for my fine tune. You are Val and Jolie, and you'll notice I don't put a space because this could be a proper name somewhere in the data set. I'm specifically creating this like entity of Val and Jolie with no space. This in the tokenizer is a different set of tokens than Val and Jolie spaced out. And Val and Jolie is a pen name I've used on fan fiction sites for many, many years. So that's why I used it for my fine tune persona identity. The writing assistant to author Elizabeth Ann West. Your job is to write in a style similar to Elizabeth Ann West, who specializes in writing Pride and Prejudice variations or Jane Austen fan fiction. You always write in third person, limited, omniscient. This will be different for you. You can't copy this prompt. I can't give you my data set. And that's going to help you write like you. This is only going to help you write like me. And you don't want to do that. Descriptive language and imagery. This analysis here all came from the AI looking at multiple samples of my own writing. And that's where this came from. And we teach, if you don't agree with what it says about your writing, unfortunately, that's your writing. I want to make sure I'm sharing my screen here. And I'm not, yeah. So you can kind of see it. I guess it's too small. So let me bring it back in here. I'll make it bigger. So make sure that you're doing that. And also make sure that you are, when you analyze your writing and stuff like that, you want the AI to do it, not you to do it, because here's the thing. The large language model understands itself. These fine tunes are for the large language model. If you write what your writing is, it might actually conflict with what the AI would describe your writing as. And so that will just frustrate you and you won't get out what you want. So meet the LLM halfway where it's already running at, where it's already working at. So Beverly asks, 2 types of Jaff, one more emotional and one more humorous. So I guess I would have 2 different fine tunes. As a matter of fact, Beverly, the best practice that FFA members have found, and myself included, is to have a fine tune for each pen name. So if these books would be on different pen names or were on different pen names, that probably indicates to you that you need a different fine tune for them. Another possibility for having multiple fine tunes, or having 2 fine tunes, for example, would be if you wanted to have alternating scenes. You could do that. Although there are also authors who have done that all in one fine tune as well. If you're going to have alternating scene point of views on a pen name, just to show that, you really want to be very crafty about your prompting, how you're going to signal to the LLM, how you're going to signal to the AI which character's point of view it is and how that point of view is defined, like the writing style. I would definitely suggest a template situation for that. Also, you'll want to make sure that your data set is big enough that you're really giving a good example. So you're going to lean more towards 20 samples, probably not 10. You don't need 50. You don't need 100. You can, my samples, I have 20 and 1 through 10 and 11 through 20. And quite frankly, it was one that's only 10 samples that got me the 31,258 words that were decent, good words that I would use and just tweak. So, okay. This is unintentionally becoming a masterclass in fine tunes. Sorry, everyone. But, circumstances change every minute, every day. And our circumstances have changed as an industry. This genie is out of the bottle. We've been doing this for 2 months now in the FFA. And I knew it was a dangerous thing to just unleash this into the author world with no explanation, no training, no education around it. So we've been training about it. But it's a really big, important thing that people need to make their own data sets. They really do. Because if you don't make your own data set, you're just opening yourself up for a lot of liability, I think. So back to what I should have showed you a long time ago, which is Rexy Chat. Any other questions about fine tunes before we move on to that? It's a rave. We can do whatever we want. Yes, so it's a fine tune rave. That's what we're doing. I'm going to get some water real fast. Okay. Let's go. Go Gadget. Rexy Chat. This thing is cool, y'all. I am excited. Brand new. So, Rexy Chat. We can, oh, you know what? Guess what, everyone? Watch this. I've loaded my project and everything. Let me go grab my end slots. So I need this SQL slots. And let me, for the love of Val and Jolie, make sure I'm sharing my screen. Okay, I am. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and load my Notion slots. Boop. I'm loading my Notion slots. And it's going. And I'm waiting. It takes a long time for Notion slots to load now because they're unlimited and I have a lot of information in my Notion slots. So there's my Notion slots. My B slots, I'm going to go ahead and load that 30 bangs because my Notion slots has my scene briefs in there, and I'm going to go ahead and load that blackjack. Okay. There's a reason, I promise. This is going to blow some people's minds. I know I should do like a more like start from finish, how Rexy Chat will be and all that. I'm recording that video this weekend, so it'll be shared next week. So this is kind of like the advanced, what you can do with it. So Rexy Chat works the way it's been working, and I've shared that, except now the changes allow you to actually bring in your snobs, your S slots, your N slots, and your B slots all work inside of Rexy Chat. More importantly, you can change your AI model in the middle of a chat. You can edit a chat. You're going to see some really cool stuff. So hold on to your bonnets. Now, we're used to using Word Banger, but B slots, just blackjacks, just got to upgrade with Rexy Chat. And let me show you what I mean by that. My AI model that I have loaded, I'm going to go ahead and load my fine tune. So I'm going to pick my fine tune here, and I'm going to go ahead and pick my 1 through 10 samples. I'm going to lower my temperature down to 0.5. We have found that the lower temperatures actually work better with the fine tunes. They're very, very finicky. And my maximum length is going to be 4,000. So we're cool. We're cool for the summer, yo. All right. So I have a couple of options here. Because Rexy Chat gives you a system message, you could use, I'm going to go back to my elements. My B slot is N8 and 11. I could literally prompt like this, y'all. I got N8 right there. Always press Control Enter to apply. And then I can type right here N11 because that's the scene brief. And I can click go. Ready? Go. So it brought the scene writing brief in, and it has this in the system message. I think that should be the prompting thing there. And literally it starts writing that scene for me. I know it looks god awful. Don't worry. It actually is not. It's just it's just the way it is for rendering it in here. So we'll let that run. So you can literally now bang inside of chat. This is crazy. I love that all the functionality of Rexy like works with other functionality of Rexy. Like there's no part of Rexy that doesn't really talk to the other part of Rexy. So they're doing that. And it wrote it. And look, it wrote 3,733 words, y'all. That is a GPT 3.516K model that just wrote 3,733 words. Now I have some options. I could start a chat from this. So if you've ever worked with chat and you were busy going with chat and you're like, oh man, I just need to start a new chat. You can literally start a new chat from any chat part that you were just finishing on. Also, AR, that saves the assistant responses. So one of the things I hate about chat is once I finish a chat, then I got to clean it all up. We have created a way that only the responses from the LLM go into a Notion page. The user response, that is the prompting that I gave. So if you want to keep your prompts for future sequences, you can do that. You can be pantsing inside a chat now, get kind of your rhythm down. What kind of prompts do you constantly do? Save those as a user response, and you now have the beginnings of what you're going to do there, or you can save all of it. You also can click slot it. Now, what does slot it do? Slot it is going to throw it into your S slots. So I'm going to throw it into my S slots. Boop. And now scene 1 is in my S slot. Now, let's say I want to edit this. I can literally click edit chat. And just like Playground, you do actually have the ability to make edits to the chat. Now, obviously, this particular interface is not really best for this. You probably want to take it out, copy it, and then bring it back in for changes that you want to make that are like big changes for like large things here. This is not the most cleanest interface for this. It was not really designed for that. However, remember, I slotted it, right? Okay, hold on. I can go to my line editor, and my scene 1, because it was my most recent completion, is already there. So I could be working in here, and I can just add my line numbers because that's what came in chat, make some changes, and then copy and paste that back into chat as the change into chat. Like, this is so versatile for pantsers. I'm not even a pantser, but I made sure that the functionality of chat would really lean itself to people who are pantsing. You have full access to your snob. your S slots, your N slots, your B slots inside of Rexy. Let's see just the assistant response. So I'm actually going to clear my chat real fast. Don't panic. It's okay. Because I have plenty of chapter ones. Let's play with some other elements here. Oh, let me check the chat from the YouTube to see how everyone's doing on this. Oh, Susan says she's so happy with this functionality. Yep. And coming soon to another AI software near you in the next 2 to 3 months. Because they'll copy. They will. So, Rexy Chat. Back to this. Let's play a Panther's Dream, shall we? So we have characters. Let's go look at the story Bible. So this N4 is the story Bible of the Trouble with Horses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my system message, and I'm going to say, you are a writer's assistant, and read the information given to you and respond back. Yeah, that's a really crappy prompt, but we'll leave it as is for right now. And I'm going to say, read N4, write me a list of unresolved plot points or ways that story could continue into the next novella. So there's the story Bible that just got thrown in there because your N slots work. And I'm using chat to understand what unresolved plot points are there in the next novella. The identity and significance of the injured man in the woods, finds in the woods, that's Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy's feelings, so didn't know that was Mr. Darcy, but it was. The rumors and scandalous, these unresolved, the dynamic between Elizabeth and her family, the rivalry between Miss Bingley. And I can actually ask it questions. Did Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy get married yet? Let's just ask that question. It's not clear. But it doesn't explicitly state. Give me 3 story ideas for a sequel to the information in N4. So I'm giving N4 again. I don't even know what model I'm using right now. I think it's a stupid model. Oh, I'm using my fine tune. That's why this isn't very good. I was like, why is this so dumb? Because it was fine tuned to write. It's not really fine tuned for what I'm asking it to do. So London Adventure, the aftermath of the scandal surrounding her relationship with Mr. Darcy could focus on how the family's reputation is impacted. Their courtship. That's not the novella I wrote at all, but I like those novella ideas. Let's go to a foundational model, shall we? So that we're not asking the stupid fine tune that wasn't designed to do all those things. We'll keep working with Turbo 16K, and I'm going to go ahead and clear the chat and do it again. So clear the chat. Yep. Read N4, a story Bible or a book 1 in a series. Please identify any plot points left unresolved or new plot ideas to continue the story into book 2. And let's see what it does. Big difference. It still doesn't fully understand that the injured man in Winslow's Woods is Mr. Darcy, but that's showing me a problem with my formatting of my story Bible, so that I would want to make sure that characters are identified as who they actually are if it's somebody like the injured man in the woods. The scandal. So delve deeper, book 2, new plot ideas, a horse-related mystery, find her true passion, other potential love interests. It does not understand the genre at all, and involvement in a larger adventure. So, and this is what I kind of ran into. This is using 16K, GPT 3.5. Oh, and my temperature is really low. Let's do the same prompt. So let me go ahead and save it. Not save this, but save my prompt that I had. Read that, and I just need the information at the end. So clear chat. Doop, doop, doop. in book 2. Here is the story Bible of book 1. And then I'll put my N4 in, just so that the prompt is a little bit cleaner. Oh, I didn't change my model. Man, this is what happens when Elizabeth's tired. All right, this will be the last thing I do because we're definitely at the hour. All right, so that's going to be kind of worthless, but I liked the prompt. This is why I'm not a pantser, y'all. This is why I like to do sequences. Okay, first things first. Let's change the model to something smarter, shall we? Let's do 1106 Turbo because I know one of the things I do is my story world is 3,406 tokens or words. So I know that that's kind of, I mean, GPT-4 could do it. But I always like to put my word counts on my Notion pages so that on my Notion slots, so I can quickly like construct what context window will work for whatever I'm mega prompting or anything like that. Let me check the chat for the YouTube video. Hey, Migs. Migs is saying that he's loving the new Rexy Chat and its ability to save right to Notion. Revolutionary. Oh, yeah. This thing is wicked cool. The other functionality I did not quite show yet is I'm trying to get you will read the story Bible of book 1 and identify any unresolved plot points from the end of the story that could continue into book 2 and any new plot ideas for that sequel. Here is the story Bible for book 1. And that's going to be my N4 slot. I'm saying the end of the story because I'm tired of it saying like, the mysterious man that she saved in the woods. We'll go to 0.7 on the temperature. It doesn't need to be so low and update that. And now we'll go ahead and go gadget. So it's writing. Okay. Here we go. I'm waiting with bated breath. Okay, Mr. Darcy's feelings. I like it. Perception of Mr. Darcy. Cool. Mr. Wickham's ulterior motives. Cool. The anticipated ball. There was a ball for it. They actually happened, so it's a little bit confused about that. Aunt Gardner is indeed pregnant, so that's cool. Elizabeth and Mary are in London at the end of book 1, so I could do like a whole London society thing. That's where they're engaged and everything like that. You know, this is where you just know that they're not a romance writer, a new love interest. No. Wrong genre. The role of Mr. Bingley and everything like that. So I like this. And I'm going to say, let's do number 1. Let's go with new plot idea number 1 and write me a hook and pitch for that novella that will be 10 chapters long. Tag this as, oopsies. I'll explain why I'm saying hook and pitch. Instead of this, that's not specific. That is prompting 101. Tag your response as hook and pitch. All right, so now it's going to do that. So she's in London. So it's number 1, Elizabeth and Mary's time in London. And it's got the whole context window of the story Bible of what happened before. So you're still leveraging the whole context window of a chat in the chat mode, which is not entirely the way that Wordbanger works. So we have this 10 chapter novella, and what's going to happen? She grapples with her feelings for Mr. Darcy, beating of her own heart. Great. Write me an outline and make it more of a romance for Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth and the trials of London society. Tag this, tag your response as outline. And that'll be the last one I do. So it's got this whole context window that it's working with now. So now it's writing me an outline. I didn't tell it how to write the outline. It's just doing it. So there we go. Modest visit. She's got a new gown. Mr. Ashford takes an interest in her. Cautious of new acquaintances. Literature. Attentiveness sparks jealousy in Mr. Ashford. What the heck, Mr. Ashford? We already did the Royal Exhibition. So this is a case where AI is not really good at coming up with SQL. This is why we need humans. We're going to have to fine tune it to teach it how to write SQLs because it doesn't know. And again, fine tune, the key word with a fine tune is how. If your answer is how it's going to write it, a fine tune is your Huckleberry. If it's what it needs to know and it's outside the context window, that's when you need to use RAG. So here's what I wanted to show as the last feature. You can save just the responses, like I said, as a Notion page. You can save the user responses of like what the individual prompts were. You can save all of it. Cool. You can slot it. I'm going to go ahead and slot it. And there's a reason I'm going to slot it. And that is when I come to these elements and I come to these S slots that now have this information in here. So it's got my outline. It's got my hook and pitch. Watch this. Everyone hold on. I'm going to click this new save button. Now this new save button is on every N slots and B slots and S slots. You also can use the delete button, which deletes them all. So I'm going to click S slots like that. And once I do that, oh, there's one little bug here that we're working on here. It just moves everything down. Although he might have fixed it so that disappears. So it's running, and the reason why it's running, how many of you are tired of making Notion pages manually? Raise your hands. You can clear the results here so that that'll go away. I'm going to click this page. I now have a Notion page. That is my S slots. Now, S slots could be N slots. These are just pages. This is a Notion page with all of those responses. So here's my hook and pitch right here. Here's my outline right here, already Tupperware containered, so that I can have my elements. I can be working in chat, create a whole bunch of elements on a page, and then take this link in here of all these different elements from a chat, bring them in as an end page, as a Notion page, and start playing with these elements right away to do all kinds of different prompting and everything like that. Your workflow in Rexy just got immensely more powerful, immensely more powerful. So I'm going to check the chat and see what people think. Yes, you can now literally in chat make a Notion page. So that, yes, bing, bang, boom. I like it, Megs. I like it. I like it. Harper said she played with this in Baby Rexy and loved it, turned your S slots and used them as a Notion page without even changing anything. Absolutely. Because when we built Rexy, it was really important for me that Rexy is all about functionality, and at the end of the day, functionality, because we're working writers. We're busy. We're professionals. We are working and orchestrating with the AI. And when I'm in a flow state with my words, I don't want to have to stop and copy and paste. Copying and paste is, I'm allergic to it. I've decided. So I hope you like the new Rexy Chat. I can guarantee you new chat interfaces in the next 2 months in other AI software will suddenly give you the ability to edit your chat, just like in Playground. It will give you the ability to just export the responses, and it'll give you the ability to just, have your prompts. People are listening. People who are building tooling and things like that in the industry are listening. But the Future Fiction Academy's mission is to make sure that authors are not left behind and that we are on the cutting edge of this stuff. And we are working together to make sure that we have the knowledge so that we're not cut out on it. If I can write 31,000 words in 10 minutes, I can guarantee you big IP holders have bigger machines and other things in software that they have built and that they're keeping inside their corporation walls to do it too. I am not some rogue genius or whatever who's the only one who figured out how to sequence prompts, but people aren't making tooling for authors, and that is what my it's really what I want to do with my life right now. Like, that's what I care about. So I really want to thank everyone for all the support of the Future Fiction Academy. I want to thank everyone who encourages collaboration and going high and just taking the high road. We have to turn the other cheek all the time against anti-AI. Recently, it's been from attacks from other people in the AI world. Like, it's so big, like we can afford that. Yeah, we're going to stick together and have fun and support one another. And Craig Martell always says a rising tide lifts all boats. And that's actually a really well-known phrase. There is still that opportunity in the AI fiction writing world. We can still do that. But we're going to have to kind of tell people who are coming into the space with ideas of, we're here to destroy them all. We're here to destroy this other piece of software, or that community, or whatever. That's not how the rest of us are playing. We're playing together. We're sharing toys on the playground. Okay. That's what we're doing here. So that's why I've made my YouTube videos. We're not a big YouTube channel. I know that. Like, the only people who watch our YouTube videos are Future Fiction Academy members, prospective Future Fiction Academy members, and members of the OpenAI Development Forum. So actually a lot of like AI people are taking notice. We had a couple of videos shared in the OpenAI Developer Forum, as a matter of fact, of like, hey, look what they're doing. This is what they're doing and stuff like that with fiction and AI. So that's where I envisioned for the Future Fiction Academy to be. We were never designed to be competition for anyone, because I literally built the Future Fiction Academy with people who were smart with AI writing and everything like that. We were already publishing with AI words and everything to fill a hole that was there. No one was teaching authors what it means for context window tokens. A lot of early software coming into the space thought authors were too stupid to understand this stuff, or don't bother them with tokens. They don't need to know that. They just need to know words, or they don't need to prompt engineer. We don't want them doing that. They just need to click buttons, and they just don't fundamentally understand that that's not how we write books. There may be people out there who will one day want to, or now want to just click buttons and write books, but that's not what we're here to do. We want to write AI assisted, and we want to feel as much of us in that process as we can, because that's who our readers fall in love with. And this is just a tool to help us get the words down faster. All right, I'll do one last check of the things. Yes, that's perfect. Death by Diva. I'm going to say Stacy's first. Stacy's is build community, not competition. Not knowing how to prompt leads to a lot of frustration, Susan. You're absolutely right. But I think, it's just so perfect. The AIism. All right, here we go. We're all in this together. So have a great weekend, everyone. I will see you if you're in the Future Fiction Academy in class. If you're not, we would love to see you in lab. We're making some tweaks so that things are pre-recorded, and we'll have some Q&A and everything like that. How wonderful for us that Fine Tunes are finally getting the big broadcast and everything like that. And make sure to spread the word to your friends that fine tuning, with great power comes great responsibility, people. So really spread the word. Data sets should be personal. Data sets should be done by you, and be careful about data sets being shared and stuff. Make sure it's from someone that you trust, and make sure that there's provenance on where that stuff came from. All right, everyone, have a great night. See ya.